everybody, Christopher Nejman. Well, I am doing some metallic thread testing because I was having some issues. Now, I have never really had problems with metallic threads in all my other brand machines. Always got them to work well. My Janome 9000, my Singer XL 550, my Baby Lock Elissimo, my Brother ULT, my Burnett Deco 500. I've always had success no matter what what machine I was sewing metallic threads on. Now, a couple years ago I did a video and showed you guys I was doing these lace designs on my Singer and my Brother. And these lace designs are from a brother card. I never had any problems. Alright, so today I'm using 2 layers of this wash away stabilizer. And I've got a 9014 needle in. The first thing I've got up here that I'm testing is Madeira. Now, something I'm going to give a pet peeve about, and for years I don't know why these sewing machine these thread companies haven't changed. But guys, you know, when you put this thread on the spool and it goes through the hole, whatever writing was there is gone. You can't read it no more. You think somebody would have wised up after all these years and decided to do like a record album and print around the hole. So now I'm going to go to a Madeira spool that hasn't been used yet, and it says they call this heavy metal, and it's made with 50% metallic and 50% polyester. So let's give this a test and see what happens. So far, so good. And you can see I have it on that little disc. The weight of the spool of thread is not very heavy at all. And that little spool, that little plate, is acting like a ball bearing, which is allowing that thread to glide out very easily. One thing I do want to point out to you guys is that if you feel resistance when you have thread and you're pulling it through the needle, and this has resistance where it's pulling too hard, make sure you clean that spool where the paper is, because it might be tacky stuck on there. And if you're using a bigger spools and it's too heavy, then you're going to need to switch and get yourself a Martelli quick spin, because this has got the ball bearings and it's excellent. Doesn't allow any drag. There's no resistance, and it doesn't cause friction. So anyway, this is going so far so good on this one. Let's do a little bit more. Alright, so far so good. So I'm going to let that sew out, and then I'll come back and show you when that one's done. Still doing good, guys. Still doing good. Also I want to show you something. Let me go to my settings screen here. Hold on a minute. Go to my settings. embroidery. I want to show you, I have this at 800 stitches per minute, and that's how fast this machine will sew. So I've got it up all the way, and the thread tension is on auto. I want to show that to you guys. Okay. Alright, that came out absolutely beautiful, as you can see. And this was the, just gotta trim that thread right there. This was the Madeira thread. Alright, so now let's look at some sulky. Alright, when I look at the sulky thread here, what I see, this was a spool I was using earlier, and I thought, oh, there's no paper on the bottom. So what is this made from? It just says metallic. It doesn't even say where it's made. Well, it says Germany. And remember, everybody, just because it's got a country name doesn't mean it's made there. You know what I'm saying? Like the Madeira we just used. The Madeira does say made in Germany, but you know what, guys? It's like I said just a little bit ago. When you poke a hole through this to put it on your spool pin, that goes away and you can't read it. And it's very important to have information on here when you're reading. So when you go back to your spools of thread, like look at the information. There's information might be here that you might want to know about, and once you poke a hole, it's gone. So after all these years, they still haven't smartened up. You think they would have taken a lesson from the record album companies when they would print around the hole, you know? Alright, so anyway, going back to here. So I went back into my container and to see if they had a label. Nothing. So then I looked on this spool. This is a larger spool, sulky, and it says premium metallic, and it says here that it is 59% nylon, 40% polyester, and 1% what? 1% metallic. And it says use a 90 top stitch needle, which is what I always tell everybody, right? Okay. Then I go to this Gunold, and Gunold is supposed to be what sulky is, right? Now let's look at this sulky again. Where does it say it's made? It says made in Japan. So this thread here says made in Japan. So let's try this one first. Let's try this sulky first and see how this works out. Oh, and I wanted to point out before we start, notice the hole, the pre-punched hole on this sulky label and on the bottom. Somebody wised up, right? Somebody wised up. I'm happy to see that, because that writing will always be there. You don't have to worry about this label peeling off. Isn't that nice? So you can always find the information. Alright, let's get going. Alright, so I put it on this spool. Now this spool cap, I talked about this in my last video. This is what they sold in a kit for Janome with a miracle stitcher. I think they call it a spool plate. Okay, and your Janome dealer should sell these extra like that. You know, you can get these everywhere from a Janome dealer. And then this contraption here, you can get this anywhere. I think this came from a brother dealer that carried Janome also. So you can pick those up. Go check your dealers. Alright, so now here's what I'm talking about. I'm pulling the thread and it is no resistance at all. Absolutely no resistance. And that's what you want to make sure, is when you're feeding your threads from the side, there's absolutely no resistance. So let's see how well this sews out on this sulky thread, metallic thread that was made in Japan, and we'll see how well this does. can hear it. I can hear it. Is it ready? Is it shredding? I think it's, yep. It's shredding. It is shredding. There it is. It's all shredded. Interesting. The Madeira thread never shredded once. Alright, and I'm not having any resistance coming off of here. And I've used this thread on my other brand machines. So let me rethread it and keep it going. Alright, so I moved it over to my Quick Spin by Martelli. And we'll see if this makes a difference. I had no resistance here, but let's see if this is going to make a difference here. So the first thing I do is got to raise my presser foot, and I got to go back a few stitches here. That should be enough. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that we are making lace which is very, very tight buildup, very dense. And metallic thread is a little heavier than your normal rayon or polyester thread. So we got to put that into play as well. And what I said earlier was I did these designs on my other machines a couple years ago, didn't have one problem. Alright, I'll come back when it's done. Alright, so it started shredding again. Listen. There it is. Hear it? Yep, it's shredded again. That's twice already. Twice. So, even the Martelli Quick Spin couldn't save it on this machine. So my next thing I'm going to do is change the needle. I'm going to change the needle. I was using a Class A Topstitch size 14. I'm going to switch to a Schmetz Topstitch size 14, and we'll see what that does. Okay, change the needle. Still on my Martelli Quick Spin. I backed it up to go over the part where it was all shredded. Okay, I'll see you all back in a little while. Okay, I had a break and the machine actually shut itself off. Let's see what's in here. Oh boy, look at all that. Look at that shredding. Now, like I said, to be fair, in all honesty, everyone, we are using a very dense design that was really not made for metallic threads. But because I had success with my other brand machines using these metallic threads, I want to try it on this new machine that I have. So it doesn't really feel all that thick, though. You see, I mean, it feels slightly raised like it should, but it really doesn't feel all that thick. So I'm going to rethread this and get going again. So it wasn't the needle. There was no problem with the other brand needle at all. We had no issues with this one at all. But we are having issues with this thread. So this is Madeira. This is the sulky. And now I'll finish this up and we'll see if I get any more breakages. Alright, it's getting ready to break again. Listen. There it is. It's all shredded. It's all shredded again. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it with this Gunold. I'm going to see if this Gunold's going to make a difference, because this Gunold's supposed to be, I think, the parent company of Sulky. This one says Japan. And it says 58% PA and 42% PES, whatever that means. Nothing on the bottom. Alright, let me load this and see what happens. Ah, there it goes again. There it goes again, it broke. Look at that. It's just shredding to death. And for all you saying, oh, your machine is too high speed, you need to turn it down. Well, I want to say to you that on all my other model machines, I ran full speed with never an issue. You saw I ran full speed with this brand, did not have an issue. Alright, so since we just had an issue with this one, let's switch over to, I'm not even going to try to continue. I'm already had issues. I'm going to switch over to this, coats. Alright, so now, this one didn't have any, this one, it did have information on the bottom, and it fell off and I found it right on the floor. And this one says it is, let me try to get a light here. Where are we at? This one says 60% nylon core and 40% polyester, and it says Japan. Now remember, everybody, they say countries, but they don't say made in that country. So we don't know if this is just, we don't know. Just like the other brands, we don't know, except Madeira. Madeira did say made in Germany. It did say made in Germany right in the front. See that? Right under the Madeira, made in Germany. And it, I think this is sulky rayon. And where was my sulky metallic? Here, right here. Sulky metallic said made in Japan. So that did say made in Japan. So, alright. So let me load this Coates and Clark up and we'll go from there. Really going to town. I think that coax thread even looks prettier, don't you? That's fabulous. That is amazing to me. Now, I want to talk to you about age, okay? That spool of coat sitting up there, and all these other spools of thread sitting here, all these, this, they all have been in my drawer for the same amount of time when I acquired them. And that's been about almost 10 years ago. About 10 years ago, I acquired these, okay? And a lot of thread in my drawer, okay? And so they're all around the same age, with the exception of this one I just bought last week at Walmart, okay? But all these spools of thread, including all these drawers here you see, these all have been about, these are all the same age. So if someone says about the age of thread, it's no good after so long, well, this one is probably even older, and it's still working. This one I just got brand new. This one just came in the mail. I ordered that one online. So I'm not going to tell you that these threads are bad, because I've had success with them all these years on my other brand and model machines, including my old Janome 9000. My old Janome 9000 when I did embroidery. But every one of these threads work great on my other brands, especially the Singer XL550 that everyone was complaining about. It just loved metallic thread. Don't ask me why, because everyone was saying it was a problem with it. But it was doing really good. So let me continue this, and then when we do it in the next one, I'm going to do it in this copper one I just bought recently. Okay, so let's continue. Alright, so before I start the next one, I'm going to change the thread. I wanted to show you a sellout sample I did earlier. This was done with sulky rayon thread. Not one thread break. Let me show you what that was. This one, which is the same as this one here. Sulky premium. Doesn't say where it was made, nothing. Let me see if I can find another spool. Okay, here's another spool. This one, 40 weight rayon. Boy, every one of these labels are different. They This one says silky, shiny, strong. This one says made in Germany, viscose rayon. Silky, strong, washable, but nothing. Label came off on the back of this one. No label on that. Let me see if I can find another one. Well, here's this color here. This one says Germany. Isn't that something? Look at this. This is irritating. It says Germany. This one says made in Germany. So, yeah, we know Sulky headquarters is in Germany, but was this spool of thread made in Germany, or was it made somewhere else? Because this spool of thread does say made in Germany. And just like the other brands, like this one Sulky did say made in Japan. The inconsistency of these companies is irritating, to say the least. Very irritating. So what I'm proving is, just because it's one brand doesn't mean it's all the same. Look at this is Madeira. We had no problems with the Madeira one, right? But just because it's one brand doesn't mean it's all made in the same place or it's all got the same label, whatever. So when you hear people talk on the groups, you've got to really say, okay, well, you better look at your labels, because just because it's saying one thing doesn't mean it really is. But anyway, this was that rayon thread. It's absolutely beautiful the way it's sewed out. And this was the other metallic threads. I was having issues, but then I got it okay with the Coates and Clark one. So let's continue. Let's continue here. Now, the funny thing is, every time a thread would have an issue, it was always when it came down in this area. So, like I said, to be fair to all the brands, this is a highly dense design that really probably should be loosened up a bit for metallic thread. So, we wouldn't get the benefit of the doubt. So, even though this Madeira thread did not break once, this Madeira metallic thread might be a little thinner than the other brands I'm using. So keep that in mind too, my friends. So we'll test later on embroidery designs that aren't so dense, and we'll see how all the brands do on that. So you have to stay tuned for that video coming up in the future. Wow. It's doing beautiful. And again, I want to point out on this one, in case I didn't before, this is Coats & Clark. It says metallic. And it says it is 44% nylon, 34% polyester, and 22% cotton. There's not even any metallic in this one. And it says Japan. It doesn't say made in Japan, it just says Japan. And look at the shine on that. Isn't that beautiful? It looks just like metallic thread. And they call it metallic thread, but there's no metal in it. So what were those dealers saying about metallic coats threads? I don't know. Alright, I'll come back to this when it's done. So far so good, man. So far so good. And you know, it's ironic because when I'm on these sewing groups on Facebook, you have all these people that say, oh, my dealer says not to use Coats & Clark thread. It's bad thread, blah, 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 blah. And I'm reading these things, I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, they all basically are the same as far as the quality, but I've always had great results with Coats threads. So here you can see how wonderful it's going. So you guys, the next time a dealer says something to you like that, you know, out that dealer on the Facebook groups and give the name of the dealer that's saying these things, because as you see, I am doing testing on all different brands. And like I said, I have used all these brands and all my other machines all these years, and they work flawlessly for me. And this is a very, very intense design that I'm sewing on right now. So there's going to be issues, but which thread is holding up with these dense lace designs? And so far it's Madeira and Coats. I just think it's fascinating that they have a brand, this brand has a thread called metallic and there's absolutely no metallic in it. Isn't that fabulous? Unbelievable. Alright, so we're going to do one more. This is 4 on the page. We're going to do one more. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this thread, which is by Robeson Anton. And I'm looking to see where this was made. And even with a hole punched in the middle, that was just a barcode. There's nothing on this that says where it's made. Now, I don't understand why companies want you not to know where their stuff is made. I mean, they are receiving tax breaks with your money. Why don't they show you who they're hiring with your tax breaks? Why not, right? I mean, you're voting for them to have tax breaks, these corporations, to keep jobs in America. So why can't we find one product here that says made in USA? Why? All right, so let me load this up and we'll get this one tested. This is J Metallic, okay, by Robeson Anton. I got this one on the quick spin. Speaking of tax breaks, guess where this quick spin is made? The Martelli quick spin. This is made in the US of A, my friends. High quality ball bearings. This is a little disc that I put on there because I want. This is the small one here. They make a bigger version for the bigger cones. I have the smaller one on here. But anyway, I want to show you that this is freaking amazing that we do have a product here made in the USA. Alright, J Metallic thread. Last design. Let's go. We got a break. That almost done. We have one break. Oh my God, I thought it was going to make it. I thought it was going to make it. Oh my God, it was like, what? Just a few stitches to go and it didn't make it. Oh my gosh. All right, let me rethread it. All right, I rethreaded it and I backed it up about 10 stitches. Let's see how many stitches it had to go. And it broke again. Wow. Let me try one more time. Alright, here we go. Wow, that was really something. That J Metallic thread almost made it. It's just a real heavy, thick part right here where it just didn't make it. Alright, so let's do a recap of everything today. Alright, so here they all are. You follow me on the journey and see which ones worked great. And like I said, to be honest, this was a very, very dense design which was never digitized for metallic threads, so we want to see which company would hold up. Now I do want to point out something when I was looking at this J Metallic thread. Let me see, I want to make sure. No, it doesn't even list the fiber content. Not only does it not list where it was made, but it does not list the fiber content. And because it was going over a very, very heavy area, the thread broke twice, but it almost made the whole design. So which thread made the cut today? The thread that made the cut today is Madeira. And that thread that everybody badmouths on Facebook groups, Coates and Clark. Coates and Clark made the cut along with Madeira. The Madeira is made in Germany. This one says Japan. It doesn't say it's made in Japan, it just says Japan. And there's not even 1 ounce of metallic in this one. And there is metallic in this one. It says it has, just to review, it has 30% metallic and 50% polyester. Okay? So remember, there are all kinds of factors that affect metallic threads and other threads when you're sewing. The density of the design, the intricacy, you see how tight that is? So just because certain metallic threads did not make it doesn't mean that they're bad threads. Then what else did we learn today? Companies are not consistent with their labeling. They're not consistent with their labeling. You know, the information on the back of their spools of thread, they're not all consistent. This was a Coates and Clark here. This was a polyester thread for embroidery, and this is nice. I gotta tell you guys, I don't know why your dealers badmouth Coates and Clark threads, because I use them all and I never have any issues. So I like to see everybody put their money where their mouth is, and you just saw me. And it's all about understanding why threads work the way they do. And every thread could have a different weight, different strength of the fiber content. And yeah, so this was kind of you can't say this was unfair to all the brands, because a couple of the brands really stood out with this, right? Yeah. So anyway, all right, so I'll do another video test later with metallic threads. In the meantime, a couple other things I want to show you. I just used bobbin thread, white bobbin thread on the back here, 60 weight pre-wound bobbin thread. I'm going to post a link to a video I did sewing out these designs on my Singer and my brother, and on one of them I used the metallic thread for the bobbin as well. And you can see the results I had with those compared to what I'm having today. All right? Okay, so my next video, everybody, take care, and always think, you know, don't give up. Always think and come to solutions. Solutions get things done, not aggravation and just saying that stupid thread or that bad thread or this and that, you know, because there's a reason for everything. Remember, products would not work. Manufacturers would not be making the products if they did not work. And they all have their part to play for everything that you sew. For any certain things that you sew. Okay? All right, till next time, take care. Bye now.